The jungle smelled of iron and rot. Captain Elias Rourke crouched low beneath a twisted spine vine, the bones of some long-dead creature woven into the flora like scaffolding. His breath was even, measured. Each inhale drew in humidity and the faint scent of predator musk, close. Above him, the thick canopy of Zerthal Prime filtered red sunlight through hanging moss, casting everything in a perpetual dusk. The foliage didn't rustle when something moved. It waited until you blinked. He whispered into the calm, knowing full well no one would answer. Captain's log. I've made planetfall. No reception. No extraction. Typical. His dropship had been torn from the sky the second it entered orbit, expected. The Vel'kra didn't believe in greetings. Only challenges. A faint sound to the right. Not footsteps. A scrape. A deliberate one. Elias turned and flung the flashblade in one fluid motion. The blade hissed through the mist and thudded into bark, no contact. Then came the laugh. Low, guttural, mocking. You throw like prey, a voice said. A figure emerged from the haze. Vel'kra. 7 feet tall, armored in scale plate grown from its own flesh. Its eyes glowed amber. Fangs bared, not in hunger, but anticipation. Captain Elias Rourke, he said, standing slowly. I'm not here to fight. I'm here for Karuther. The Vel'kra hissed. You are here to die. The rite has not begun, yet still you walk into our domain? Madness or honor, we cannot tell the difference with your kind. He didn't answer. Instead, he placed his hands calmly behind his head. 2 more shadows flanked the first, cloaked in bone and silence. A third dropped from a branch, claws extended but never used. Elias remained still. In this place, motion was invitation. Words were survival. Take me to him, Elias said. Let your bone alpha judge me himself. They marched him through the jungle of spires, massive calcified trees, each one carved with the trophies of Vel'kra hunts. Skulls of species Elias couldn't name glared down at him. Some looked eerily human. One of the escorts, the smallest, limping, kept glancing at Elias's boots, then his eyes. You don't smell afraid, she muttered. He gave a dry smirk. I've walked through fire. This is just ash. The throne chamber was not a hall, but a pit. Dozens of Vel'kra ringed the edge, silent. Above them hung hooks. Weapons. Chains. Symbols of power. At the center stood Karuther. His skin was dark as basalt, etched with ceremonial scars. His right arm was a cybernetic claw fused with living bone. A jagged blade rested across his shoulder. Around him, silence had weight. Elias stepped forward, still unarmed. You, Karuther said, voice deep and raw, walk without weapons into the den of death. Why? Elias met his gaze. Because I didn't come to fight you. I came to understand you. And if needed, earn your respect. A low murmur rippled through the ring. Karuther circled him slowly. Respect is carved, not requested. You claim to seek peace, yet your kind has sterilized planets. We stopped doing that. We changed. Change is a weakness among predators. Elias's jaw tightened. Or evolution. Karuther's eyes narrowed. Then you shall evolve, or die. He raised his claw, and the crowd chanted in low, vibrating unison. The right. The right. The right. Karuther raised his voice above them. You will enter the death spiral. You will survive until first light. No weapons. No aid. No mercy. And if I survive? Elias asked. Then we speak. He nodded once. Then I'll see you at dawn. They stripped him of gear, sensors, blades, everything except his skin and bones. A spear of biostones stabbed into his shoulder. A tracker. Just in case they needed to recover the corpse. 2 Vel'kra shoved open the bone gate. Beyond it, mist swirled like oil over fire. He stepped through. The gate slammed shut behind him. The spiral welcomed him with silence. It wasn't just a terrain, it was a sentient ecosystem. The air pulsed. The ground shifted. Sound returned only when it wanted to. Elias moved cautiously, using what he remembered from deep recon missions. He marked landmarks, bone spires, heat vents, fungus patches that glowed at odd intervals. 3 hours in, he found the first threat. A slither of something massive passed overhead, not on land but through the trees like a snake made of mirrors. It didn't attack. It didn't need to. Just watching. Another hour passed. Hunger began clawing. His vision blurred briefly. No water. No food. Just instinct. Then a cry, a small, sharp, panicked chirp. He followed it, expecting a trap. Instead, he found a Vel'kra cub, barely breathing, caught in one of the spiral's thorn snags. The youngling's leg was nearly severed. Its eyes locked with his. No fear. Just the challenge of survival. Elias hesitated. Then moved forward. He broke the snare with a sharp rock, tore strips from his tunic, and bound the wound. The cub hissed, but didn't strike. Behind them, something large moved closer. The air dropped in temperature. The predator from before had followed the scent. He backed away, pushing the cub behind him. "You want a meal," he said, "you'll have to earn it." The beast lunged. Elias dropped, rolled, grabbed a shard of shell, and drove it into the creature's underbelly. Not deep, but enough. The beast screamed, retreated. Elias didn't chase. The cub watched. Then limped into the shadows. By dawn, Elias's arms bled from thorn cuts, his lips cracked from dehydration. He stumbled through the last gate just as the first light broke the spiral's mist. A Vel'kra voice whispered behind the veil. "He lives." The gates opened. Karuther waited at the threshold. Elias fell to one knee, but not in submission. In exhaustion. Karuther stared at him in silence for a long moment. Then turned to the crowd. He did not kill unless he must. He showed mercy to the undeserving. He bled, but never bowed. He turned back to Elias. "No human has walked the spiral and returned." He paused. "Now, we speak." Elias awoke to pain. Not sharp, deep. A throb under the ribs, the kind that warned of infection or cracked bone. His tongue was dry, his vision grainy. He lay on a slab of stone in a torchlit chamber, unfamiliar but clean. No chains. No guards. Just silence. He sat up slowly, every muscle stiff. The spiral hadn't killed him, but it had taken something. A presence stirred near the far wall. Karuther. The Bone Alpha stood with arms folded, flanked by 2 lesser warriors who said nothing. His eyes were unreadable. "You were not expected to return," he said. "I don't die for your expectations." Karuther stepped closer. "You did not kill the cub." "Why?" Elias didn't answer immediately. He drank from a bowl placed near the slab. Cold water. Metallic taste. It helped. "That cub wasn't my enemy," he said at last. "It was scared, wounded. I had no reason to end its life." Karuther's brow furrowed. "Mercy is weakness." "No," Elias replied, setting the bowl down. "Killing to prove strength is." The warriors behind Karuther exchanged a glance. The Bone Alpha circled him slowly. "When Vel'kra are young, we are thrown into the spiral at age 9. Those who return become warriors. The rest become meat." Elias stood, shaky but steady. "Sounds like fear dressed up as tradition." Karuther's hand shot forward, grabbing Elias's shirt collar. The room tensed. One of the guards twitched. Elias didn't flinch. Karuther stared at him for a moment, then let go. "You confuse us, human." "Good," Elias said. "That means you're thinking." Hours later, Elias walked beside Karuther through the hive galleries, the heart of the Vel'kra command complex. The walls were living bone, reshaped over centuries into structures that pulsed slightly, like breathing flesh. This was once a tomb world, Caruthar said. We turned it into a crucible. Elias nodded, noting how the corridors sloped downward. You built your empire in a grave. We built it on death. It is the only honest foundation. They passed murals carved into bone, depictions of war, conquest, and a central figure, Caruthar himself, tearing a four-armed alien in half. His legend painted in blood. But further down the hall, a newer mural caught Elias's eye. It showed a human, distinct by form, standing unarmed before the Vel'kra tribunal. The image was abstract, still unfinished. They're painting me? Elias asked. Caruthar nodded. You are either the herald of change, or the mistake that dooms us. They reached a sealed chamber. It opened with a low grind of stone against stone. Inside stood a single device, a memory shrine, Vel'kra tech older than their written language. A skeletal throne sat in the center, crowned by an interface helm made of fused clawbone and crystal. Caruthar motioned to it. Sit. Elias hesitated. Why? To understand who we are, you must see what we fear. Elias stepped forward, lowering himself into the throne. The helm dropped onto his skull with a hiss. Everything went white. He stood on a battlefield. Not Zerthal, but somewhere else. A planet covered in flame and ash. Above, a human warship blotted out the sky. Vel'kra screamed. Children burned. Whole cities turned to bone. And the voice echoed. Humanity is a plague. They do not conquer, they consume. He saw soldiers, his species, moving with mechanical precision, emotionless. A past version of Earth's Black Ops initiative, merciless, faceless. This, Caruthar's voice said from nowhere, was our first contact with your kind. 600 years ago. Elias turned in the vision. A single Vel'kra female cradled her dying cub. Her eyes met as across the memory. Hate. The vision shattered. He ripped off the helm and gasped. Caruthar stared down at him. We remember. Even if you forget. Elias sat forward, shaking. That wasn't who we are anymore. You evolved, Caruthar growled. But we do not forget the teeth behind the smile. They returned to the tribunal chamber by midday. The Vel'kra had gathered in force now, hundreds, standing in disciplined rows, blades crossed over chests, eyes fixed on Elias. Some looked curious. Others radiated disdain. Caruthar took the central podium, holding up his claw. This human survived the spiral. He spared a cub. He fought with instinct, but without cruelty. He saw our past. He now knows our fear. He turned toward Elias. Now, he must answer. The room went still. Elias stepped forward. I came here to stop a war, he said, voice steady. But I didn't come to beg. I came to show you what strength can look like without domination. What peace could mean without submission. A low murmur rippled through the crowd. I saw what we did to you, he continued. That shame is ours. But I'm not that soldier. I'm the man standing here now, offering you a future where your cubs don't die in fire and fury. He paused, looking directly at Caruthar. You don't have to kneel to us. Just stand beside us. The silence that followed was sharp. Breathless. Then, unexpectedly, a sound from the rear. The young Vel'kra cub, bandaged, limping, stepped into the light. Alone. Caruthar's eyes widened. It walked to Elias, and dropped its head. Not submission, acknowledgement. A slow ripple passed through the crowd. Some warriors lowered their weapons. A few unclenched fists. Caruthar said nothing for a long moment. Then, tomorrow, we decide. Elias nodded. Then I'll be here. Later that night, in the chambers provided to him, Elias recorded a message into his hidden wrist implant, still undetected. Day 2 on Zerthal Prime. No death. No treaty. But maybe, just maybe, there's a crack in the wall. I think Karuther wants to believe peace is possible. But something's still holding him back. I need to find out what. He paused, then added quietly. Also, the cub. It bowed. Just a child, but that gesture might have shifted an empire. He clicked off the recorder. Outside, the jungle howled. Not in anger, but in unrest. Something was changing. Dawn came without sunlight. The skies over Zerthal Prime remained cloaked in a thick veil of copper clouds, a constant reminder of the planet's hostile atmosphere. Elias stood at the edge of the tribunal spire, watching the world breathe, mist rising from the jungle below, bone trees rustling without wind. The final day. The fate of two civilizations hung on the decision of one war-born predator. Behind him, the doors to the high chamber rumbled open. Karuther entered, cloaked in ceremonial furs. The claw-arm had been polished, its edges gleaming with venom-laced symbols. His face gave nothing away. Elias turned, expression calm. So, what will it be? Karuther didn't answer. Instead, he gestured for Elias to follow. They descended deeper into the mountain, far beneath the known structures. The corridors grew narrow, the walls colder. Torches were replaced by bioluminescent roots pulsing faint blue. This place, Karuther said finally, was never meant for prey. Elias glanced at him. Then why bring me here? To show you something even our own warriors never see. At last, they entered a vault. Its doors were bone metal, ancient. Karuther pressed his claw against a stone, and the vault creaked open. Inside lay a single chamber, dust-filled, silent. And at its center, a stasis orb. Elias stepped forward. The orb flickered, then lit. A holographic image materialized mid-air. Not Vel'kra. Human. The recording showed an Earth warlord in black armor, eyes cold, voice steady. Zerthal is classified as a Tier 6 threat. Vel'kra population to be neutralized within 12 cycles. Objective, total planetary sterilization. The timestamp read, 382 years ago. Elias's stomach turned. He watched the recording play out, drone strikes, mass executions, cryoplagues unleashed without warning. Then, it stopped. Karuther spoke quietly. We captured that feed from one of your satellites before it went dark. It was our first proof that humans were not legends. Not myths. But monsters. Elias remained still. We buried that part of history. You buried your sins, Karuther corrected. A long silence passed between them. Then Elias said, Why show me this now? Karuther walked to a carved seat and sat down, slowly, as if the weight of memory had finally reached his bones. Because I do not want to repeat your mistake. Elias frowned. What do you mean? Karuther looked up. I halted the Vel'kra fleet 2 cycles ago. Just before the UHS declared full engagement. My warriors called it cowardice. But I had seen your soldiers. Not your weapons, your restraint. You could have destroyed us again. But you didn't. Elias nodded slowly. We came to talk. Not conquer. Karuther leaned forward. That's what terrifies us. We know how to fight monsters. We do not know how to fight those who offer peace and mean it. Elias sat across from him. Then don't fight. Join us. The Bone Alpha didn't answer immediately. Then he said, A predator does not kneel to prey. I'm not asking you to kneel, Elias replied. I'm asking you to stand beside us. Karuther's eyes flicked toward the stasis orb. We were forged in blood. You want us to become something else? No, Elias said. I want you to choose what you become next. The final tribunal gathered above ground. Hundreds of Vel'kra lined the amphitheater. This time, they were not armored for war. Their blades remained sheathed. Their expressions unreadable. Elias stood at the center beside Karuther, surrounded by eyes that had never seen a human and expected never to. The Bone Alpha raised his claw. "The spiral has spoken," he said. "The right was honored. The human lived. And in doing so, challenged the core of who we are." He turned, slowly, to face Elias. "This human saw our truth. And we saw his. There is honor in his restraint. In his refusal to dominate. That is a strength we do not yet understand." A pause. Then, Caruther dropped to one knee. Not in defeat. In choice. The entire amphitheater gasped. One of the elders barked, "You bow to the prey?" Caruther looked up, eyes sharp. "No. I bow to the future." Elias stepped forward, offering his hand. The Bone Alpha took it. The moment went viral across the galaxy within hours. Drones captured every angle. The image of the Vel'kra warlord, kneeling before a human, spread faster than war declarations ever could. On Earth, media scrambled to verify it. On Vel'kra outposts, warriors watched in silence. In the UHS Senate, the vote for orbital strikes was suspended indefinitely. Later that night, as Elias prepared to leave, Caruther walked beside him to the dropship. "You've bought us time," Caruther said. "But not peace. Not yet." "I don't need forever," Elias replied. "Just to start." Caruther glanced at the rising moon, a blood-hued crescent. "You still carry the smell of prey. But your eyes? They're hunter eyes." Elias smirked. "And you? You're a predator who just gave peace a chance." Caruther gave a low growl. "Don't let it make you soft." "I won't," Elias said, climbing the ramp. "But maybe one day, we'll both be able to stop sharpening our teeth." The hatch closed behind him. In the silence that followed, Caruther stood alone. He watched the human ship rise through the mist, disappearing into the stars. And though his claws still hungered for war, his mind tasted something different. Possibility. Final line. The galaxy feared the Vel'kra for their claws, but it was the human's open hand that changed everything.